Hi, I'm Annette from it'sadelight.com, and today I am going to show you how to make an Irish soda bread. So Irish soda bread is very traditional for St. Patrick's Day, which is coming up, so I thought this would be perfect to do this right now. And I have a dear friend who loves Irish soda bread, so I am really going to make this and give this to her. And Irish soda bread is traditionally something that was made with very few ingredients. It goes way back to the potato famine, and they just made this basic bread, and it was served with tea. It's kind of like a scone and a biscuit type of thing, but we're going to make it in a loaf pan. Okay, so to make everything easier as much as I can when I'm baking, I mix my dry mix up ahead in either a Ziploc bag or canning jar. And so that's again what I have done, because if I'm gonna make whatever, Irish soda bread, banana bread, blueberry cranberry bread, I'm gonna mix up a couple of these so that for the next month can just mix this up super easy. So in my dry mix, we'll dump it into the bowl. I have got my 2 cups of organic, just an good all-purpose flour. I've got a 1/2 cup of organic cane sugar. And actually what I've done also is I have more and more as I'm baking, I will remove out a tablespoon or 2, and I will put in a tablespoon of monk fruit powder or Etruvia powder in place of that tablespoon that I removed out. So you can do that if you'd like to cut back on the sugar. The only reason, typically I would use a coconut sugar or another sugar like that, but that's gonna make this bread very brown. And this is traditionally a very white bread. So I didn't wanna do that with this one. So then I also have in here 2 1/4 teaspoons of baking powder, a 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda, and a 1/2 teaspoon of my Celtic sea salt. And it's of course already mixed up good because it was in the Ziploc. And then what I have is my wet ingredients, which is my egg, and I have butter that is melted. For this recipe, yes, I melt it. Some recipes don't, but this works really easy. So I melted my butter, which is 3 tablespoons of melted butter. And then I'm gonna use my milk kefir, because I use milk kefir in place of buttermilk all the time, and we need 1 cup of buttermilk. So like I said, I'm gonna use this milk kefir. It's nice and thick, it's nice and tart. This is gonna be a very good acid with my soda to just make it give us nice holes, just like a nice good traditional soda bread. And so you can use milk kefir for other places that you would use buttermilk, like pancakes or biscuits. I use it for that as well. Now another little tip I'll give you here is I have also made Irish soda bread by removing a 1/4 cup of the kefir or the buttermilk, whichever you're using, and replace that with a 1/4 cup of heavy cream. And then your Irish soda bread is going to be more moist and just, I think, richer, kind of like a scone, like a nice moist scone. And so that's my favorite way. But if you are the traditional Irish, you're gonna like it without the cream. So I'm gonna do it without the cream because I'm gonna do it for that dear friend of mine, okay? And I'm just gonna dump in all this wet. I'm gonna give it a stir, and then my raisins, and we'll just go from there. Okay, so actually, before I add all my wet into my bowl, I am just gonna whisk my egg in my little melted butter here real quick, because that's going to give us a little bit better results, to just get that egg whisked up real good. And I'm going to add my, whoops. Every bit out of there. Now you could use a whisk, any kind of whisk, or I'm just going to use my rubber spatula because I really like a rubber spatula a lot. I just use it for pretty much everything. And again, we don't want to over stir this. So when I think it's starting to get close, like right now, I'm going to dump in my raisins. And for my raisins, I have 3/4 cup of raisins in there. Stir that up really good. And that is all. I want to give it a stir. It's looking all mixed and I just don't want to overstir it. I can already see my soda is activating with my wonderful kefir. And my pans I greased with a little bit of coconut oil, you know, a solid coconut oil. I just use a barbecue brush like that. So they're already greased. And now, and these are mini loaves. This is 2 mini loaves. You could double this recipe and make more loaves, or you could make 1 large loaf. Oops, kind of spilling here today. And that is how easy this bread is. Now, typically, again, they don't smooth it down. They let it be a little bit bumpy. I got a little bit more in this loaf pan, but that's okay. And we will pop this in the oven at 350 and bake this, and I'll bring it back out when it's golden brown. Okay. I baked my bread mine baked for 31 minutes, literally, so 30 to 35. I covered it with a towel. And just a little tip I'll share, when you are baking your bread or muffins or a bread item I tend to think of, or brownies, and you get it out of the pan so it stops baking, then I cover mine. You want to keep that steam in. So the steam is keeping the moisture in. So I cover it with the towel, just a clean tea towel or any kind of towel. And if you wanted a soft crust, then I don't have my barbecue brush here, but I would take a barbecue brush and I would put a little butter on it, and I would go over my crust while my bread was still warm. And then that would give me a nice soft crust. But this I'm going to serve you completely the true traditional way, where you just have your tea and you just have a warm slice of this wonderful soda bread. And this has got the raisins in it. Also, I should have mentioned that you can do golden raisins or half golden and half regular raisins. This smells absolutely delicious, you guys. And you would put some nice soft butter on there, and that's just gonna kind of melt in. You can see this bread is so tender it will almost just fall apart with the fork. It's just tender like a biscuit. Smells, oh, there it is, just gonna fall right apart. But that is our wonderful Irish soda bread with raisins, made the traditional way, but using milk kefir. And I hope that you will give it a try, and be sure you check out my St. Patrick's Day stew. That is another, that's been a very popular video and recipe. So you can check that out and make that just in time for St. Patrick's Day, and I'll see you in the next video.